All right, y'all. Our next guest is here to make us feel a little more festive, or at least expose how little we actually, Jim, remember about the movies that we swear we know, the movies we watch every year. And I'm so curious if the Mandela effect is going to step in and present itself here, Jim. But Neal Fischer joins us today. Jim, he's back.
He's back.
He's back. Neal Fischer, he's an award-winning filmmaker, writer, podcaster, pop culture fanatic like us. He's the author of the Christmas Movie Ultimate Trivia Book, which is basically, Jim, like the Super Bowl for people who can quote Cousin Eddie and Buddy the Elf and Hugh Grant coming down the staircase. This is their Super Bowl moment, I feel like. Agree?
You think I'm ordering a pizza here, lady? Come down here. I can't say the curse words. Come down here and arrest me. That's my Christmas movie quote. There you go.
I wonder if you said it exactly right. So Neal, he's a walking encyclopedia of holiday movies. Everything from the classics to the obscure that is only on at 2 a.m. On Hallmark in the middle of the night, which there are people who watch those too, guys. Those people need love too.
I call it narrative Yule log, by the way. That's what I call those Hallmark movies. Something you put on in the background while you make cookies because the plots are so simple and clean. You know what's going on and you can check in.
That's what I do when you call me. I call you that, but I just put you on speaker and I walk away and make cookies. Okay, or personally, by the way, my Holy Trinity, Jim, I don't know about you, my Holy Trinity is a Christmas Vacation, Elf, and Love Actually. And if we have time, I sneak in a little Family Stone because that movie is basically like therapy designed as a Christmas present. And that's what I think. I need to watch it again this year. It's probably a good time for it. But everybody, please make welcome back to the show. We had so much fun with this guest a couple months ago that we made him promise on air like we do. We like to kidnap people when they're on the air and say, please say you will come back around Christmas time. And he is here. Ask and you shall receive. Everybody, please make welcome to the show our returning friend, soon to be yours, Neal Fischer. Good morning and welcome back, friend.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm ready to be kidnapped, like the ref, for Christmas season by you guys. So I'm happy to be here. And I was listening to your discussion too. You're talking about Miracle on 34th Street, that wonderful moment with the Dutch, and it's fun. That actress Mary Field didn't know Dutch, and she learned all of her lines along with Edmund Gwenn phonetically. So they did a very convincing job, I thought.
Neal, I have to tell you, too, I finally got a chance to watch the sequence and watch what they're saying, to watch it with subtitles. Oh, my God. I thought the moment wrecked me already. Knowing what they're actually saying just killed me inside. I'm like, it could not have gotten any more, It's a Wonderful Life, punch you in the absolute gut moment. I had no idea. I just thought, oh, that's sweet. They're both talking Dutch. That's really moving. But why the woman who's in line with her, who speaks Dutch, who understands what they're saying, why she looks so wrecked in that moment isn't just because the little girl is happy. It's this amazing moment where the little girl says, I don't want anything for Christmas except for this wonderful woman and her husband to adopt me. And I was like, oh, my God. It's just like it wrecks you, and it's the best Twilight Zone twist ending of all time of any Christmas movie. I think better than even It's a Wonderful Life and the end of A Christmas Carol. That's just my take. How did you fall in love with Christmas movies? Your turn.
Just speaking on that one too, very quickly. Just a great movie. What a classic! And Edmund Gwenn, who plays Santa Claus, the only person ever to be nominated for an Oscar for playing Santa, and he actually appeared as Santa in the Macy's Day Parade the year before the movie came out. So they're actually filming at the real Macy's Day Parade, and it was so cold that all their cameras started freezing. So they basically only got one take of every shot that they did, and the actors were kind of miserable. But it's just kind of a fun fact when you're watching it now to know that he was actually what people saw in the parade. But I got obsessed with Christmas movies just, from my family, my mom and dad kind of instilling the Christmas spirit in us. My mom would always go and try to get the new toy, whether it was the Power Rangers or, whatever else it might be, Furby, things like that. And she'd go wait in line and fight over, different toys with people. But watched Christmas movies since I was a kid. And, we always were so excited to get up Christmas morning to come down. We had our presents from our family. And then there was always, one that now, of course, it's a little bit funnier thinking of it. But there'd be a big present with, from Santa written in Sharpie. And I was like, oh, well, Santa doesn't have a lot of time. He's got to write everything with Sharpie because he's going around house to house. So, I just fell in love with Christmas movies and just have a stable that I watch every year. And this book was such a great opportunity to kind of take the whole month of December when I wrote it. And my wife and I would sit down. We watched, 4 or 5 Christmas movies. I'd write questions while we were watching them. And it was a great way to go through the whole catalog of all the great movies.
But to you, okay, because there's the ongoing debate of how soon is too soon to start a Christmas movie. I feel like it's after Thanksgiving. That's sort of the obligatory answer. But also my friend starts decorating literally in August for Christmas. And so how does your household, you said you and your wife did this book. So how do y'all celebrate Christmas? When do the decorations go up? And when are you allowed to watch the first movie? And or can you watch Christmas movies all year long?
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer the latter part of the question, there's nothing wrong with watching Christmas movies all year long, especially ones that kind of toe the line between genres, really. Like, Love Actually is one of my favorite movies, but it also
Same.
happens to be one of the best romantic comedies of all time. So
Yep.
you can watch that one anytime. And The Holiday, too, another great romantic comedy, and one that, it could be a Thanksgiving movie, it could be a summer movie, doesn't really matter. It just gives you that sort of Christmas spirit, winter spirit. But yeah, for me, we have Thanksgiving. We normally try and go see a movie in the theater on Thanksgiving night as one of our traditions. Doesn't necessarily have to be a holiday movie. And then I kind of put everything up, the day after Thanksgiving, and we go till after New Year's. Really, my birthday is New Year's Day, so we kind of go through New Year's and slowly take down the decorations after the holiday.
Does it make you sad? Are you depressed when that happens? Or are you ready to get to the next?
No, I mean, I love Christmas. I think, when I was a teenager, one of my favorite traditions was, going in the car when it was really cold, throwing on Christmas music, getting an icy from 7-Eleven and going to look at all the Christmas lights around town and driving to different towns to see who had the best lights and who went all out. I feel like people are doing it less and less now, that is the sad part for me. Like I see less and less lights, and it's not as festive as it used to be, in my opinion. But that's what the movies are for, and so it's great to find new ones, new gems that I haven't seen before that are coming out, but also rewatch the classics like you were both talking about.
I had something that actually I started thinking about as I started going through the book, and I realized, I had to check it. Love Actually does make money at the movie theaters. It actually does do pretty decent, good box office, especially given how well controlled the budget is. But there's a real history of a lot of Christmas movies. It's a Wonderful Life comes to mind. Equally up there is A Christmas Story, where the films, and there might be some more too, and I like to kind of dig into this, that television really has benefited a lot of these great movies in the sense that It's a Wonderful Life doesn't break even. Only person that made money on It's a Wonderful Life is Jimmy Stewart because of that unique contract that he has. Everybody else, it just doesn't do the business, and it doesn't get the reviews that it now gets today. Christmas Story is the same way. And there are a couple of other movies, too, that have become Christmas classics that did only okay or not well at all. Why do you think that is? Do you have a theory on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life specifically, I could talk about that one a lot. It was such a weird time, that one, it was right after the war. Jimmy Stewart, a lot of people may not know that he was a bomber pilot in the war. He went on about 20 missions. He lost a lot of men in the war. So he kind of came back shell-shocked after World War II, and no one really wanted to hire him because he was suffering from PTSD. It wasn't called that at the time, but he was having a lot of trouble. But Frank Capra was a friend of his, and they wanted to do this project together. So, they did this sort of cathartic movie together. And Frank Capra actually lost like $500,000 on It's a Wonderful Life because, like you said, it did not do well at the box office. Maybe people weren't ready for this type of movie. I mean, it was a little bit darker than a lot of Christmas movies as far as this character kind of going through, questioning his life and everything. And what really saved It's a Wonderful Life was between 1974 and 1994, the copyright had run out. So anyone was free to broadcast the movie. So people started putting it on TV. Local stations could afford, because it was free, to air it whenever they wanted. So that's when we started noticing, hey, It's a Wonderful Life is always on TV. I'm seeing it everywhere. And they kind of even do a little nod to that in Home Alone, where the family's always watching it all around the world. But then it started gaining a new audience and became a classic. And I think, when it comes to Christmas movies in general, some of them try and go for those big hits, like Red One with The Rock, where they're like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. Of course people are going to come out. It's going to make millions and millions of dollars. But that doesn't necessarily, mean that that's going to happen. And I think what sets the movies apart that do pick up box office or fans is really the subject matter. It's got to have, the different elements. I think I even mentioned in the book, it's got to have sort of like those warm and fuzzy elements. It's got to have a good message, maybe like family coming together, people trying to help someone else, have, quotability, rewatchability. And I think, only a certain number of movies have that. But It's Wonderful Life, certainly, the reason it's become one of the best is just because of the artisans behind it. I mean, Frank Capra, Jimmy Stewart, you can't really beat it.
Neal, if you're looking for any last minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I'd like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Medley Lane. And I want to tell him that he's anyway, I could go on. So this is one of the best scenes, and as legend has it, Chevy Chase improvised from Christmas Vacation that at least half of the meltdown scene over there. Is that Christmas folklore at this point, or is that true? Because obviously John Hughes wrote this. So how much is John Hughes writing it and Chevy Chase improvising that scene?
Yeah, so that's a fun movie. I mean, obviously being from Chicago, have to watch that one every year, and that's just a really fun. They don't really have a Christmas comedy like that anymore. That kind of gets a little bit dirty, So I really love that one. But to answer your question, first of all, John Hughes, like you said, wrote the film. Originally, it was supposed to be directed by Christopher Columbus, who directed Home Alone. But after he dealt with Chevy Chase for a little bit, he said, I can't work with Chevy Chase. He drives me nuts. So he quit. So he did Home Alone instead. But that scene in particular they're talking about, not improvised by Chevy Chase. In actuality, if you watch that scene when he starts having his meltdown, he's kind of like looking to his left, he's looking to his right, looking forward. He had cue cards with different cue words and lines on pieces of paper that were on easels or people in front of him, and he's trying to find all the little things like Tylenol and all the things that he's saying. So he's actually kind of pulling, like an SNL sketch. He's kind of pulling from things on the wall or on pieces of paper or cardboard to get that line.
Well, real quick though, speaking of Saturday Night Live, because you mentioned that Christopher Columbus not wanting to work with them, and we've watched the Saturday Night Live, we see how Chevy Chase is portrayed in the original, the very first episode of that. And what, in your opinion, why is Chevy so lovable when we all pretty much know that he's not behind the scenes, but he's able to really balance it, especially in that movie. You love him, I guess, because he just wants it to be so perfect amidst all the chaos. In your opinion, how does Chevy Chase balance being lovable when he's really just kind of not?
Yeah, that's like really the magic sauce there. I mean, him and Bill Murray always have kind of had like a little bit of a reputation where, Bill Murray might just kind of improv, not even do the script. And then the production company is like, hey, we want you to follow the script here. And he kind of does his own thing. And Chevy Chase is kind of known as being that way. I think, there's a few movies, and he's been in a lot of hits, but there's a lot of actors that this happens to, where you just have sort of this perfect storm of, you get a director that either kind of acquiesces to the actor, or they kind of push them a little bit, and the subject matter, the script really helps. And I think in this case, though, the script is really good. I mean, John Hughes is such a classic writer, and I think I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and it's kind of like a separate conversation, but I feel like, pre-2010, even going all the way back to the beginning of film, we didn't really know too much about actors. I mean, there were tabloids in the 40s and the 50s with Cary Grant and things like that, but we didn't know a lot about actors. There wasn't social media. They weren't constantly on the marketing train, getting interviewed all the time. And so there was sort of that, plausible deniability a little bit, like, oh, Chevy Chase, maybe he's difficult, but he's so funny in these movies. I love him in these movies, and he's endearing. Like, that's all I care about. But now we know everything about every actor, what their opinion is, what they're doing on social media, where they're at, what coffee they're drinking. And so kind of takes a little bit of that mystique away. And maybe that's part of it, because all of the stuff that kind of came out with him with Community was more modern. So I think that maybe, might have played a role.
By the way, guys, I love this book, both its layout and it's really, really fun, but it's for movie buffs as well. I don't think that it's like, the easiest question in the world, like what does Jimmy Stewart find in his pocket after he realizes that his mouth is still bleeding during It's a Wonderful Life? Most people know it's Zuzu Pedal. Here's a couple of versions of this is an easy one, as a matter of fact. This version of Dickens' classic takes some liberties with the original story by creating a plot line suggesting Scrooge resents his nephew, Fred, for what reason? A, Fred loves Christmas. B, Fred doesn't respect his mother's memory. C, Fred never accepted his offer to work for him. Scrooge's sister, Fan, died while giving birth to Fred. And like I said, I can go through a couple of these. You didn't want to you make them possible, but they're not easy. I mean, was that part of the challenge, too? You wanted to make sure that people understood. You got to really watch these movies and dig in, correct? Did I lose
Neal?
Neal?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's
I I tried to format it where you had the book, you sat in front of the TV. You could either watch the movie and then take the quiz right after it, or maybe like yourselves, both of you, you're big fans of Christmas movies. Maybe you just pull it out right away and say, hey, here's a random question. Do you think you can answer it? And my goal was try and read the question without the multiple choice, see if you can get that sort of like the expert level, and then I threw the multiple choice in there just for fun, and also my family plays with it during Christmas, and it's fun to to kind of involve the family, especially kids who may have not seen a lot of these movies, and getting them to watch Alistair Sim from 1951 it might sound like a stretch now, but hey, we're going to play a game after it, and then of course they see a classic, and then hopefully it becomes a beloved classic for them as well.
I mentioned. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go.
No, I mentioned the Mandela effect at the beginning when we were entering, bringing you on, and I do it a lot where I'll swear that I have something actually right in a movie, go back and watch it, and I couldn't be more wrong. But are there movies, or which movie has the biggest kind of mythology or Mandela effect, maybe trivia around it, like things that people swear happened but didn't? Do you see that happen ever?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think you guys always have the best questions, by the way. I think, I think Nightmare Before Christmas is probably the number one that I think of, because if you ever ask anyone, hey, do you like Nightmare Before Christmas? They'll say, oh, yeah, that's my favorite Tim Burton movie. Well, it's not Tim Burton's movie. He didn't direct it. He just produced it. His friend, Henry Selick, is the director of the film, who also directed Coraline. And so there's a lot of just fun lore about that movie, and the fact that people assume it's Tim Burton because it's his aesthetic. And also, even in the book, you'll see the way that it has to be presented by Disney is it has to be Disney, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas contractually. So, of course, you're thinking, of course, it's Tim Burton's movie. So I think that one probably has the most lore, and I think most people get that one wrong. And I mean, it's understandable. It looks like any Tim Burton movie, but I always feel bad for Henry Selick because he's such a great filmmaker, and he never really gets his due.
Although, don't get me started on Coraline. That's the most messed up piece of art I've ever seen in my life. I had to go watch it with my child. I did not sleep. Not okay. Not okay. Just saying. That's my hot take.
By the way, it's not really comparable, but it's like everybody thinks that Howard Hawks directed The Thing from Another World when it was actually Christian Nibby. You can never get a break in Hollywood. I also love the fact that you have a rating meter, where you have a cheerometer for the Christmas spirit, the warm tingles, and the timelessness. And I'm going to say this right now, I like so many versions of A Christmas Carol, but I have to tell you, and I want to know your favorite Scrooge, my favorite Scrooge is actually Michael Caine, because he gives the performance of a lifetime surrounded by nothing but puppets, and I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's great, isn't it?
Unbelievable performance, and he's so good in that movie. When he was cast, he told the director, hey, I'm gonna treat this like a Shakespearean play where I'm just gonna be completely straight. There's actually some great little moments in that movie too. Like if you watch at the end, it's like sort of the last song when he's got his scarf and he's happy and they're in the middle of the town. If you look in the back, there's a shop called Micklewhite's, because Michael Caine's actual name is Mick Micklewhite, Maurice Micklewhite, excuse me. So you can see a little nod to his real name behind there. But that one's such a classic. It's probably the most accurate version of A Christmas Carol, believe it or not. George Carlin was actually considered to be Ebenezer Scrooge along with some other English actors, but Michael Caine kind of won that over. And then there's just like great physical effects too. Like when you see the Ghost of Christmas Past, anytime you watch that effect, it's actually it's a puppeteered puppet with clear plastic rods in a water tank. So they're actually filming that puppet in a water tank, which is really cool. But as far as Scrooge, I think, my dad's favorite is the Alistair Sim one we were just talking about from 1951, which is always on. That's like a really big classic one. A lot of people love the Bill Murray Scrooge one. I think Spirited with Will Ferrell is a really cute movie, but I might have to give you the same nod that A Muppet Christmas Carol might have to be the best one. I know it's I guess technically a kid's movie, but it does such a great job with the story. It's a perfect one to show anyone who's never heard of the story before, and you can't really go wrong with that.
2 elf questions here, and you can answer them in any order you want, but we can't not talk elf, of course. And I'm wondering, first of all, is there any sort of wild behind-the-scenes story about Will Ferrell running around New York in that costume? But also, were there any actors originally considered that you know of for Buddy the Elf that would have completely changed? I mean, I think anybody changes the movie if it's not Will Ferrell. But is there anybody that, in your opinion, would have worked as well for Buddy the Elf? Or is Elf Elf because of Will Ferrell?
I mean, Elf surely is Elf because of Will Ferrell, but Jim Carrey was attached to it, who's one of my favorite actors of all time. I think he would have had the childlike quality to really make that one sing. And just a very quick aside with Jim Carrey, if anyone loves The Grinch, my favorite fact about The Grinch is that he actually auditioned for The Grinch in front of Dr. Seuss's widow in character as Andy Kaufman because he was filming Man on the Moon. He did not break character, so he was playing Andy Kaufman auditioning to play the Grinch, and she thought he was just crazy enough to play the Grinch, so that's why he got cast. So
let's see.
Just a crazy fact.
So it was Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman playing the Grinch.
Yes, in his audition.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit.
It does.
So yeah, is there any? Do you know of any sort of behind the scenes with Will Ferrell? Because he's literally in New York running around in that elf costume. Do you know any behind the scenes of that?
Yeah, my favorite one is when he's kind of running around. He kind of points at this one guy in a red sweatsuit, and he's like, "Santa, Santa," and it's just like in the middle of the street. That's actually just a random guy who happened to be walking in New York wearing a fully red sweatsuit and had a beard. So that one's a really great moment that made it into the film. And just, a lot of these movies, despite them kind of seeming big now, or as you both were talking about, like maybe they didn't have a big budget, maybe they did. This one, didn't necessarily have a huge budget, and they did a lot of run and gun filmmaking in New York City where they didn't really get permission, or they would go, in the Lincoln Tunnel where cars would drive by and actually people did stop and point and yell Will Ferrell and things like that because they weren't planned, so they didn't close down the road. So a lot of the film was shot on the go, and that's what kind of I think makes it special and kind of gives it that X factor that a lot of Christmas movies don't have.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things the book reminded me of is how many quality horror movies there are that are actually set at Christmas. I mean, good stuff too. And you also point out in one of the pop-ups alongside of it, in one of the minor discussions, that Bob Clark, who directed A Christmas Story that has been overplayed and replayed and gotten good again, seeing it for the first time, actually directed one of the scariest, most gruesome Christmas movies as well, right?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Bob Clark not only directed Porky's, very influential comedy, directed Christmas
Another
Story,
great
but,
Christmas
he
movie.
Another great Christmas movie. Yes, he directed Black Christmas, which is one of the original sort of slasher movies, one of the kind of kicked off the slasher genre, and just kind of cool. If you take a weekend and you're like, hey, I'm going to watch A Christmas Story and I'm going to watch Black Christmas from the same director, completely different vibes, and really cool to see a filmmaker kind of do that, and that kind of carries over with the horror genre into the action genre too. There was one actually section that got cut from the book that I was really excited about, which is there's the famous writer Shane Black, who did Lethal Weapon and The Nice Guys, just a great Hollywood writer. All of his Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, all of his movies take place at Christmas, and he's very conscious about putting Christmas into his movies, and that section ended up getting cut. But
I saw it. We got the
PDF.
Christmas. Dude, I saw it. I got that. We got that in our book. In the version that we got, the Shane Black guys, the Shane Black shout out is there. It's really, I'm like going, that's like one of the coolest gets. I love that. A lot of people don't know that. All the Shane Black scripts are set at Christmas. It's crazy.
That's right.
It's crazy. I have one question for you really quick before we run out of time, and then Lindsay will probably have one too. What is a truly great scene in an otherwise average Christmas movie? One that is actually a terrific, captures the spirit, gets everything right in an otherwise sort of meh movie.
Oh, wow. In an otherwise meh movie?
No, meh. Yeah, sort of kind of middling or okay movie. I can give you an example if you want me to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, give me an example first. Yeah.
In Santa Claus 2, the moment where he actually, where they go to the parent teacher party at the as the date of the principal and how lame things are, when he actually goes backstage and uses Christmas magic to give everybody there the childhood toy they never got when they were growing up as kids, is really deeply moving. It's because the way she looks at him during that sequence, we watch her heart thaw. For me, it's a great scene and an otherwise kind of okay movie.
Yeah, that's a really great point there. And we watch those Santa Claus movies every year because I'm a huge fan of the original. It's probably might be my favorite one that I watch every year. Here I'm going to give you kind of a hot take, and I think hopefully no one will get offended by this, but I included this movie in the book because of how iconic it is, despite the fact that only 20 minutes of this movie are Christmas. So really, it's not a Christmas movie, but I included it because of what it did and what it influenced. And I will say, Meet Me in St. Louis, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, because most of that movie is not Christmas. It's not particularly interesting. It's sort of a period piece and goes through Halloween and things like that. But the fact that we got Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas and Judy Garland singing so beautifully, that is such a heartwarming moment in a movie that isn't really technically, a Christmas movie, to be honest, but we have to include it because of how influential it is.
Neal E Fischer. You can go to Neal, NealEFischer.com. Find more about all his work, but this one in particular, Christmas Movie Ultimate Trivia Book. Such a fun book. Perfect for this time of year. Neal, I'm going to guess this gets whipped out at parties for you. I'm certainly going to whip it out at a Christmas party that I'm going to. So I'm sure you're everybody's favorite party trick, and we love having you on, and we'll kidnap you and have you again sometime if you'll have us.
Yes, have me anytime you want. I'll talk about whatever you want, and I have the rom-com trivia book, so you're going to have to invite me back for Valentine's Day for some treats and some Valentines. So.
Done.
Oh, yeah.
Done. And we can, we can hit Love Actually at Valentine's as well, as a matter of fact, and the holiday. So those ones hold up after Christmas.
Let's paraphrase and go get the shit kicked out of us by Christmas.
Yeah,
that's
baby.
what I want to say. Thank you, Neal. Always love having you, man.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, I love being here, guys. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, friend.